I want to take a moment today to talk about something that I have gotten a little flack from in a couple of videos, in a couple of comment sections, and in a couple of live chats. And that is voting third party. Now, I am not ashamed to admit I voted third party last election, and I will probably do so this year. Now, a lot of people will say the argument of you're throwing your vote away if you vote third party. Well, I don't think you are, and here I'll go into why I don't think you are here in a second. Now, far be it for me to tell anybody who to vote for, because you got to vote your own personal opinions and your own personal beliefs. Now, I would encourage people to never vote on a single interest. I don't vote based solely on gun rights. Now, gun rights are one of my main concerns, but I think that we have so much legal precedent and so much court support, and even if Obama did reappoint the two people that are liable to retire this year from the Supreme Court, they're both the Clinton appointees anyway, so what's the big difference? But like I said, I think there's just too much culture and too much legal history behind guns for that to be a real threat right now, and I think any challenge that came forward we could actually defeat. So I'm not going to put that at the top of my priority list. I'm far more concerned with the average citizen's right to defend themselves in court being taken away under the guise of tort reform. Tort reform does not protect anybody. Tort reform protects corporations. It limits liability even in gross negligence to the point where the people suing them can't get enough to even pay their legal fees. So it stops corporations from being liable. If they have to replace a $20 million piece of machinery, they can sit down and figure out how many employees can we allow it to chew up before it even becomes a financial liability to actually have to replace it. It allows them to do math like that. That's the whole reason for things like that. It also does nothing to curb lawsuits. If you want to do real tort reform, limit how much lawyers can take out of a settlement. I got middle of, especially in class actions. I was inadvertently in a class actions lawsuit not too long ago that I didn't even know I was in because I had a certain cell phone carrier. I got a letter stating every person, because of this settlement, every person is getting a $300 settlement. So sign this paper, send it back. What did I see out of that $300 settlement? I saw a check for $8.67. It's still sitting on my refrigerator like 2 years later, right now on top of the refrigerator, which shows you I should clean my refrigerator more often. But that just shows you, and all the lawyers took the rest of it, because there were like 75 lawyers involved in the case, and they all took a big chunk. And this was hundreds of thousands of people, so these lawyers each got like easily tens of thousands of dollars a piece to be involved in this suit. And most of them didn't do much more than sign on to a brief. So I'm more worried about tort reform, which is actually just robbing the citizens of their right for defense in court, making it too expensive to fight in court, and limiting liabilities on corporations. I'm also much more concerned about the shifting burden of taxes onto the middle class. And that's become more and more so. Now, don't fall for this bullshit like, 5% of the people pay 60% of the taxes. Well, yeah, they do. But you also have to look at the numbers, and 5% of the people in this country control 85% of the wealth. So if 85% of the wealth is only paying 60% of the taxes, that means 15% of the wealth is paying 40% of the taxes. So what does that ratio work out to? It works out to like 0.7 for the wealthy, and it works out to like 2.6 for everybody else. So that's like more than a 3 times difference there. So don't fall for that crap. Get you what you think is important and actually learn about it. Realize what your differences, what the real truth behind your issues are. But once you determine your issues, I think most people are going to realize there's not a whole lot of difference between the right and the left in this country anymore. Now, they want to make you think there is, because as long as they make you think, I got to vote for this guy just so this guy doesn't win, well, then you're never going to vote third party. If you start realizing there's not much difference between the right and the left, and you're screwed either way, and the long-term goals of both are pretty much the same, and that's just to stay in power and make money. Now, you can choose, which one is less damaging to me. Is it less damaging to vote for the party that wants the oil companies and the corporations to be in charge, or is it less damaging to me to vote for the company that wants the special interest groups and the insurance companies to be in charge, which is basically what we've got a choice between right now. I'm not saying that you should vote third party, but I'm just saying that one of the things that's beneficial of voting third party is there is an old saying, and I've heard it back in college and all kinds of study courses long before that, is one of the most sure signs of an upcoming revolt of the people is when they start to rebel at the ballot box. And as long as you continue to vote left or right, you're never rebelling at the ballot box. They got you right where they want you. They know you're always going to vote for one or the other. So if there's a system that they're working together, you're not going to hurt them in any way. When they start seeing a significant number of people stop voting status quo and stop supporting a corrupt system, that's when they start to worry. That's when they start to make changes. So I'm not telling anyone to go vote third party. I'm just stating those are the values of voting third party. Now, if you feel strongly that there are strong interests on both sides of this argument that you have to vote for, all means vote your conscience and vote for them. But don't vote against something you're told about somebody else. Don't vote against one candidate and let someone else win by default, because you don't know what you're getting. I think it's much better to vote third party. Let them know I'm not happy with either candidate, and let them know that I don't want to play the game anymore. And I feel that once enough people start to do that, there might be changes. Now, I might be wrong. Might just change the world completely if we screw it up completely if we vote third party. But I don't see that happening, because I don't see a big difference between the groups right now. So that's just my opinion on third party voting, and that's why I sometimes support third party voting. I'm not always saying I vote third party, because I don't, and I'm not saying you should either. Like I've said many times here, I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm just telling you why I support third party voting.